Mobira, Nokia, Senator, 1982. Widely considered as the first true mobile phone available to consumers, the Mobira Senator, produced by Nokia, was probably more effort to use than it was worth. Weighing an incredible 10 kilograms, there's no chance that you'd be able to carry one of these around all day. This pioneering mobile phone used a network called Nordic Mobile Telephony, NMT, standard, part of the first generation, 1G, of wireless cellular technology. Motorola Dynatac 8000X, 1983. Just 1 year after Mobira's famous Senator model launched, Motorola launched the first ever handheld mobile phone with the Dynatac 8000X. The phone in question weighed over a kilogram and took more than 10 hours to charge, a lot of effort for something that only offered 30 minutes of battery when fully charged. This was also the phone that was used to make the first public phone call in the UK in 1985. Nokia 1011, 1992. 1992, when Nokia launched its 1011 model, the first mobile phone that could be used anywhere in the world. This was thanks to its ability to access the Global System for Mobile Communication (GSM) network, often referred to as the second generation, 2G, of wireless cellular technology. The handset in question weighed just under 500 grams, featuring a monochrome LCD screen and an extendable antenna. IBM Simon, 1994. First launching in 1994, IBM's Simon Personal Communicator is widely considered as the world's first smartphone. Way ahead of its time, the IBM Simon featured a touchscreen display and countless pre-installed apps such as an address book, calculator, calendar, digital notepad, world clock, and more. Whilst it was only on the market for 6 months, IBM still managed to sell 50,000 units of the hands. Nokia 9000 Communicator, 1996. This was the first phone of its kind, marking the start of Nokia's legendary communicator line. It also served as inspiration for RIM, the mobile phone company that made its name amongst business professionals throughout the mid-2000s with the BlackBerry brand. The 9000 Communicator featured a full QWERTY keyboard as well as being one of the first phones with the ability to send and receive emails and fax via its GSM modem. Motorola StarTAC, 1996. This was also the year in which the very first clamshell phone, often described as the flip phone, was released. Motorola released the first model from its StarTAC line, also one of the first phones to be branded as a luxury product. Siemens S10, 1997. Siemens rocked the world when it launched its S10 model in 1997, the first mobile phone with a full color screen. It displayed up to 6 lines of information in 4 different colors: white, red, blue, and green. It also came with several basic apps such as an alarm, a phone book, and even a voice note recorder. RIM, BlackBerry, 850, 1999. BlackBerry entered the professional mobile phone market with its first model, the BlackBerry 850. Whilst it was a very basic version of the BlackBerries that a lot of us were familiar with in the late 2000s, it still rocked a fairly similar design, featuring a QWERTY keyboard as well as the ability to send and receive emails and browse the internet. Saying that, this mobile phone was more of a two-way pager, it didn't actually have the functionality to make phone calls. Nokia 3310, 2000. Arguably the most iconic Nokia model of all time with over 125 million models sold, the year 2000 marked the release of Nokia's 3310. It featured screensavers, customizable ringtones, and even the option to add a welcome message. It was famous for its long battery life and sturdy design, falling victim to countless durability tests over the years. This was also the phone that popularized the Snake 2 mobile game, although the game actually first appeared in Nokia's 5110 model back in 1997. Nokia 1100, 2003. Mobile technology advancements really started to pick up the pace in 2003, starting with the release of Nokia's monumental 1100 model. On the surface it was a fairly basic mobile phone, offering little more than calls, texts, and other standard features such as an alarm clock and Snake 2. This was one of the best-selling phones of all time, selling over 250 million models worldwide. This was largely down to the fact that the phone was marketed towards developing countries. It was actually Nokia's cheapest mobile phone when it was first released to market in late 2003. BlackBerry, RIM, 6210, 2003. The BlackBerry 6210, also known as the Quark, was named by Time magazine as one of the most influential gadgets of all time. 6210 was the first BlackBerry to actually offer integrated phone functionality. BlackBerry's widely popular instant messaging service that had well over 150 million users at its peak. Motorola Razr V3, 2004. Released at the end of 2004, the Razr V3 is Motorola's most popular handset to date, selling 50 million units between 2004 and 2006. It also claimed the title of the best-selling clamshell phone of all time. Famous for its remarkably slim design, the phone also featured 3G connectivity, a VGA camera, video recording, Bluetooth, WAP internet browsing, and a variety of downloadable MP3 ringtones. Sony Ericsson Walkman W800, 2005. The W800 was one of the very first phones on the market to prioritize music, possibly as a result of the iPod's recent success. Its features included a 2-megapixel camera with video recording, Bluetooth, infrared connectivity, downloadable games, MP3 ringtones and wallpapers, a WAP browser, and of course a 3G network connection, which was commonplace by this time. It also featured 34 megabytes of internal memory, with the option to add up to 2 gigabytes via a memory card. Nokia N95, 2007. Nokia launched its N95 model back in March 2007, sparking the start of the smartphone craze. Boasting 160 megabytes of internal memory with the option to add up to 8 gigabytes on a microSD card, as well as a set of dedicated media controls for watching films and listening to music, it was clear how much thought the manufacturers had put into it. One of the standout features of this phone was its 5-megapixel camera, featuring autofocus, flash, and even the ability to change ISO, white balance and contrast. But this was just the very start. It also featured a complete office suite, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, voice commands, FM radio, a browser that supported flash, and even a second, front-facing camera for video calls. The iPhone, 2007. As most of you will know, one of the main factors for Nokia's demise was the launch of Apple's iPhone. First launching in June 2007, priced from $499 for a 2-year contract, Apple managed to sell over 6 million units. Whilst this wasn't the first touchscreen phone on the market, it came at a time when the mobile phone industry was predominantly made up of phones with physical keyboards, small screens and clunky designs. Apple truly revolutionized the smartphone industry with the launch of the first-generation iPhone, with many experts noting this as the most significant moment in smartphone history. iPhone 3G, 2008. Just 1 year after the launch of its first-generation iPhone, Apple rocked the smartphone industry yet again with the launch of the iPhone 3G. It featured upgraded battery life, support for 3G networks and a new and improved operating system. BlackBerry Curve 8520, 2009. BlackBerry launched its Curve 8520 model in 2009, further reinforcing its transformation from a business focus to a consumer-focused manufacturer. Following the phone's release, BlackBerry sales spiked, going from just under 20 million units sold in 2008 to 50 million in 2010. This was largely due to the widespread popularity of BlackBerry's instant messaging app, BlackBerry Messenger, BBM, which had amassed 190 million users by 2015. Samsung Galaxy S, 2010. Arguably one of the most successful phone lines in history, Samsung launched the very first Galaxy S in June 2010. With 16 GB of storage, a 1 GHz ARM Hummingbird processor, an AMOLED touchscreen, a 5-megapixel camera and a 0.3-megapixel front camera, it was a very strong attempt at competing with Apple's popular iPhone series. HTC Evo 4G 2010. The HTC Evo 4G, trademarked in capitals as EVO 4G, also marketed as HTC EVO WiMAX ISW11HT in Japan, is a smartphone developed by HTC Corporation and marketed as Sprint's flagship Android smartphone, running on its WiMAX network. The smartphone was launched on June 4, 2010. It was the first 4G-enabled smartphone released in the United States. Samsung Galaxy S10 5G. On March 4, 2019, the first ever all-5G smartphone Samsung Galaxy S10 5G was released. According to Business Insider, the 5G feature was showcased as more expensive in comparison with the 4G Samsung Galaxy S10e.